Coconuts, fire, seawater. Simple, everyday things. But put them together, and something almost mythical is born.
Kunya, dili pwede bisag kinsay mo tuyong anak kay nahibaw ko kung saan paggama og asin.
They call it asin tibuok, the dinosaur egg of salts. So rare, it breaks its own shell when it's ready. Once on the brink of extinction, asin tibuok has clawed its way back from obscurity. Tibuok means whole, a dome of hardened salt. Crack it open, and the scent of sea and fire springs forth. A few sprinkles of it on ice cream adds an umami edge of faintly fruity notes. Shave it onto salads and seafood, and its crystals tighten flavor and leaves a subtle whisper of coconut in their wake. Amidst the hum of Cebu City, hit chef Jamie Doe at the Michelin-starred Pig and Palm is crafting a modern European menu with a Filipino heartbeat. One of his star ingredients is the stone-brown egg from Bohol.
The first time I came across it was when somebody brought it back from Bohol as a gift to me. And I opened it and I had honestly no idea what it was. So then I started to do a little bit of research into it.
Now it sits beside the stove, a staple more delicate than table salt, more complex than fleur de sel.
So we get a beautiful fresh red grouper. Prep that down, and then we'll use the salt to season the fish, and then with a little bit of lemon juice and coconut milk. I definitely recommend it to my chef friends overseas. I know it's pretty rare and pretty hard to get a hold of in huge quantities, so maybe we'll just gatekeep it for now and keep it in the Philippines.
150 kilometers away, Bohol, an island of limestone hills, whispering mangroves, and endless coconut palms. The only place where authentic asin tibuok is made. For generations, its asenderos shaped the sea into salt. They were the families who tended the shore fields, burned husks into ash, and coaxed crystals from clay pots. Romano Apatai joined their ranks when he was 16. Apprenticed to his father on the family salt farm that stretches back as far as the 1700s. The Apatais used to make salt for trade, bartering it for rice, corn, and fish.
Sa usa ka asin, sir, ang bayloan na tulo ka gantang, upat ka gantang mais, usa ka humay. Usa ka asin tibuok. Daluna muna sa bukid, taylatay ang taon mi sa basakan, mag sinangay og asin na pagka human pog suroy sa asin, baling na po magpasaan na po sa humay. Kapoy kayo, kinakapoyan.
The salt maker's craft is a melange of ritual and risk. And the process of asin tibuok is unlike any other. It begins with the coconut husks, thousands of them chopped up and placed in a big well in Romano's backyard. When the tide swells, it finds its way through the mangroves and to his doorstep, filling and refilling the well, as if the ocean itself had chosen this place to rest. As weeks turn into months, the husks begin to change, softening, darkening,
ay mao ni timailhan nga maayo gyud. Gisok nagbalig 3 ka buwan.
The husks are chopped up and then dried under the punishing sun. The drier the husks, the better they'll burn.
Magsalibok ko sa kuan, daob para ang abo mo gahe aron di pun mo gawas ang aso, ang kayo. Ang pagsalibot sa usa ka daob dili pwede og kusog kayo ang kuan kay mubuto.
Every 2 hours, for 4 days straight, the salt makers tend the fire. Douse too fast and it explodes. Too slow and it fails.
Walay tulog ng kuan sir, 4 ka gabi upat ka 96 hours. Wa gyud nay tulog kay og makatug mo ana sir, delikado man pug masunog ning kining kamalig kay mugawas man tong kayo, kusog man kayo. Unya pagka humana wala nay kanang kuan, wala nay kayo na nagamay na kayo diha na.
Salt making in the Visayas is older than any map. Before the colonizers, coastal communities were already drawing salt from the sea, using solar beds and evaporation. When the Spaniards arrived, their trade networks and Manila-centric economy pushed the craft to expand far beyond its Visayan roots. By the 18th century, places like Las Piñas were known as the salt bed of the Philippines. Amongst the salt fields, unique processes of salt boiling emerged. One of them is Asin Tibuok. Then came the 1995 Asin Law, requiring all commercially sold salt to be iodized. Good for public health, disastrous for small makers who can't meet production standards. The number of Asin Tibuok making families in Bohol collapsed from hundreds to nearly 0. The Apatais wound down their business, and Romano found work as a seaman. Only when part of the salt law was repealed did he return to the craft.
Sa wa pa siya mo taliwan sir. Ing kuan lang ko nga nang gaplano kong mag-asin tay. Asin ka nga hago kayo. Oo. Lagi mag-asin lagi ko tay. Ikaw. Mao tong balik ko ini. Importante murag na kay love jud ining trabaho. Kay og di jud ka wa kay love ining trabaho ining paggamag-asin. Makaunaw na jud ka nga muundang ka, mangita kag laing way nga o unsay mga business.
4 days of burning gives Romano his hardened ash, gasang, 50 buckets of it. Rock solid and heavy, each block is now ready for its next act. Bohol is an island that feels almost mythical. Home to tarsiers that blink like old souls, the rolling symmetries of the chocolate hills, and beaches so wide they blind you at noon. But beyond the postcard beauty lies an older rhythm, one shaped not by tourists but by tide and time. In villages like Albuquerque, the same seawater that kisses Panglao's white sands is gathered and turned into a rare salt, nicknamed the dinosaur egg.
Ako si Romano, manggamay og asin tibuok. Welcome sa ako ang asinan.
The ash of burnt coconut husk, rich with the taste of the sea, now becomes a filter. It's placed in a funnel lined with palm leaves and seawater is poured through. This process leaches out a highly concentrated brine called the tasik. Seawater that's been reborn.
Kini, mauna ni ang tasik. Ang kaparat ini halos parat na kasing parat sa kuan. Asin na gyud.
Every masterpiece needs a vessel. For Asin Tibuok, that vessel is clay. Anna Marie's family have been making pottery for as long as the Apatais have made salt.
Moni ang clay nga among gigamit. Kani siya makuha sa damo ni siya diri sa among lugar. Is poblasyon na gyapon ni siya makuha. Kanang moni nga clay ang clay nga among gipili because kanang kuan siya because of the color and the ano niya kanang itong texture. Kanang kuan siya humok niya. Dali ra sad siya ma-mix sa kuan kay
Anna Marie's family produces 200 pots per week, all by hand and with knowledge passed down the generations.
kani siya isulod sa sulod and then ana dok-dok. Ano siya ang gitawag nga pit-pit. Magpik-pik. Nya bas una sad ug kanang feel ninyo nga kanang murag nipilit na siya bas una siya sagbalik. Ana.
Several rounds of wetting and hammering, and the pots are ready for the fire. Long before steel pans and industrial vats, salt was born from clay and fire. Around 2000 BCE, in what is now Chongqing, China, villagers poured brine into handmade earthen pots, setting them over wood-fired hearths until the water vanished and the salt hardened inside. Archaeologists have unearthed these ancient vessels, blackened by flame, still dusted with the ghost of salt. In the marshes of Iron Age France, salt makers did the same, shattering the pots as they crack. Archaeologists call this briquetage, vessels meant to break. In Bohol, the same principle prevails, with conical-shaped pots that concentrate heat at the bottom and create an efficient boil.
Ay, mayong palis day. Morning ko na hong ko non. O pinambok na. Ako ning dadong karon, ikaw na may kuwag dito sa bay. Ha?
Anna Marie's pots are fired the way Romano likes it, which is why he hasn't changed suppliers in 40 years in business. The pot's thermal mass and gradual cracking would influence how the salt crystallizes. It is the womb of the salt itself. And now it's ready to face the flames. On the northeastern tip of the Philippine archipelago, the palm-fringed, turquoise water, surf capital, Siargao Island, and where 6 travelers found themselves drawn to 2 years ago.
This is arugula, and this one currently we serve in our menu in brunch for our focaccia sandwich and for our pesto during roots night. So this is a wild herb called gotukola. So it's a medicinal plant, Centaurea asiatica, and we use it for different dishes as part of our wild herbs. Traditionally, it's a medicinal plant, but it's believed to prevent hangover too, so it's very good for younger generations to try.
Filippo, Inez, her sister Marina, and 3 other friends from different corners of the world put their life savings into building a casual dining restaurant where they cook the recipes from their respective cultures. Mexican, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, using only Filipino ingredients.
We went to the market expecting to find a lot of weird ingredients, things that we don't know. And when we arrived there, there was a lot of cauliflower, calabaza, eggplant, that is ingredients that you can find in any part of the world. What we wanted is these kind of ingredients. They are very special and unique from the Philippines.
What the hands represents, it's all the farmers, fishermen that they are behind in the ingredients. Well, the ingredients are the protagonists of the experience.
Start with fried roots, cassava, onion, and ashes. We continue with wild and
The idea behind Roots is for the island's fishermen, farmers, and foragers to guide flavor. A way of researching the Philippines through its own pantry.
For this dessert, we use native cacao from the Philippines.
In Spain, we have a tradition of eating chocolate with olive oil and salt. We wanted to replicate this in this dish. Looking for a special salt is when we found the Cinto wok. It gives a smoky note to this dish and gives extra complexity to the cacao flavor.
It's incredible throughout all this century how the salt has preserved and made in the same way, you know, in the same communities, has been passed down for generation and generation.
Back in Albuquerque on Bohol Island, the final act of making asin tibuok.
Kining nasa kawa, mao ni gitawag og tasek. Amo ning ibutang ine, amo sang painiton, andusa namo ibutang sa mga klipats kay para continuous ang medyo kainit niya ba, dili kuan na pud ngadto. Naay tendency nga kanang naabitaw ang iyahang gitawag nga inle, medyo mumarka siya.
The extremely salty brine, tasik, goes into specially fired clay pots. Clay holds and slowly conducts heat so that water can evaporate fully and a hard mass of salt forms. A process that solar beds or simple pans cannot replicate.
Bale, upat hangtod sa urong ka oras ang pagluto ini ron.
Fire becomes the alchemist. Boil, replenish, wait, repeat.
Bali, ang ipahinomdon dun ni tatay na ho, sa una, magluto me, nga dili gyud pahubsan. O mahubsan na siya, mabuak yun na, salbar o kuha na siya, di lang yun na mahimo. Mao na nga tangtangon na laman pulihan.
5 workers tend to this process between feeding the fire and dousing the pots. It's an arduous and dangerous undertaking.
Walay mo tuyong kanang pagluto ang pinakalisod tungod sa kainit. Init kayo. Kami ganyan, magputos mi sa nawong kay tungod sa init. Unya, sa una, magkuhan mi karton. Basta magluto mi sir, magluto ra gyud pikas adlaw ra gyud silang kuana kay og mo trabaho pamiglain labi nang mabasa ini delikado gyud.
It's a battle of endurance between man and clay. The crew constantly checks the bottom of the pots, waiting for them to burn bright red and detach.
Pula sa ning yahang lubot. So pag natanggal na yung lubot, anhan na pa namo undangan og kayo. Kay og masobra kayo, mabuak ang kuan, ang intiro asin plus akanon sa kayo ang lubot sa asin. Matunaw siya, parang paano siya, parang melt, parang kandila.
6 hours in, the first clay pot cracks under pressure. The salt emerges whole like an unbroken egg, each weighing roughly 1 kilogram. The Asenderos families live and work by the rhythm of the earth. Their production window is narrow. When salinity is high, when the wind is favorable, when the nights are dry. Rain ruins a batch. Sea rise swallows the beds. Still, Romano persists.
Mga tingali karon 59 ko, tingali mga 40 na kapin ka years. Wa gyud kwarta sa una. Nya karon kay makwarta naman karon kay tungod kay na may mamalit nga mga turista.
Today, Asin Tibuok is finding its way back, revived as a heritage salt, prized by chefs and travelers alike. But survival is never guaranteed. In the Philippines, 80% of salt is imported. Permits, funding, and the younger generation's lack of interest in the craft all test the salt maker's endurance.
Usara akong anak. Usara akong anak, babae. Sa pagkakaroon, sir, wala gyud na hibaw-an ako nga musunod na ako kay ang anak, babae. Going eskwela po. Pero ang igsuon sa ang misis, gaplano siya. Siya na mukuha ko na po. Mumundang kong pangasin. Amo na nang ihatag, willing to ko ihatag ikuan. Wala may secret kung unsaon paghimo.
For the salt maker families of Albuquerque, this is more than business. Each shell-like dome carries the sea, the ash, the fire, the generations. It is inheritance, art, and the pride of Bohol's shore.